Hi there, my name is Cameron Cowan. I am a writer at the Cameron Journal. I'm the creative director of the Cameron Journal. I'm the Cameron of the Cameron Journal. And I am doing this little video because I've been going through some of my archives and finding some vintage stuff that I'd forgotten about. I found this one on SoundCloud, and it has to do with straight guys having gay sex. The only time I have ever gone viral, I got to the front page of collegevideos.com when I was talking about the pervasiveness in the mid 2010s. There was, I think, a Vice article about straight dudes doing gay stuff with their buds in college and all this type of thing, which isn't anything new and goes on and has gone on and I'm sure will continue to go on. Um, and I think I've done this recording about that. I think this might have been either part of that video, or it was me riffing on that video and this sort of thing. So this is just kind of a fun bit of audio I found on my SoundCloud, some vintage stuff that I'm re-uploading. So have fun with it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome to my special storytelling series that I'm launching. I am really excited to be doing these mini versions of some stand up comedy routines I used to do and just some fascinating stories that I've been excited to tell. I've been sitting on this project for a long time now, and I finally sat down, I got everything written, and I started recording, and I just had a lot of fun with it. I just had a lot of fun, and I created these things, and I'm happy to be bringing them to you. It's a little different than what we normally do on the podcast channel, but I know that you will enjoy it. So I am so happy bringing this to you. Please enjoy it. I can't wait to get your feedback, and I can't wait to see what other stories you tell me as you've experienced these stories as well. So let's make it a sharing. I'm excited for you to hear this, and here it is. It's story time with Cameron. Enjoy. On the talk show, this has been one of my most popular topics, and inexplicably so, and I will tell you why. It's kind of been a thing in like late 2015 but early 2016 to talk about guys who consider themselves straight or heterosexual to be hooking up with other guys but not consider themselves gay. Like, oh yeah, I'm dude A, and I might swap blowjobs with my buddy, but I'm not gay. And so it's kind of been this interesting social phenomena. Studies have been done, like athletes that have a nice little, cuddle, with their bros, just, fall asleep together in bed, have a nice cuddle, watch TV, whatever have you. Um, which we used to do in college. We'd all pile together like a great big massive humanity and just chill, and it was awesome. and so I did a video on the Cameron Cowan show, all the news you need to know in 10 minutes or less and why you should care about it, about straight to having sex. It's one of my most popular videos. It has gone viral. It's been a lot of fun. My thing is this, like, one part of me is kind of like, who cares? Like, it's kind of like, okay, so he does the bro job thing, or, he's experimented with this type of thing, whatever. Another part of me is kind of like, oh dear God, just please be gay, or at least bisexual. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves about what we're doing here. But I also realize, women are allowed when it comes to fluidity of sexuality to be incredibly flexible. If a woman decides to hook up with a woman, even date a woman for a while, nobody bats an eye. And she can return to dating men, and no one is like weirded out by that. Everything is totally cool, all is well, nothing to see here, folks. But a guy can't go out, maybe have a friend who he feels that way with. And that's usually with guys how it is. There's like that one guy where it's like, I'm okay with this one guy about being kind of sexual with him, and he's okay with doing it with me. And that doesn't change our identity, and it's whatever. Um, Men are not allowed to do this at all. Like, it is like verboten. Men, in order to be considered real men and straight and heterosexual, are stuck in this box where, if they do not maintain that kind of masculinity at all times, it's unfair. However, there's, even like most things in American life, niche apps growing up around this. The new Bro app, which I am on actually and have met some cool dudes on, of both the romantic variety and the friend variety, uh, are is now there, and it's basically like, look guys, here's an app where you can connect with each other and do whatever you want to, from the let's just meet up and hang out and have a beer and talk about sports, to let's get down with the bedroom festivities. um that's, it's kind of interesting because now I think finally maybe we're getting a little bit more fluid with male sexuality. And it's kind of interesting because in my life, in being what I call Cameron duality, which is Cameron sees, wants, and does who he likes with a complete disregard to gender or identity, which I think is now technically called pansexual, but I've been doing it before the name pansexual came along. Anywho's it. Um, I knew this guy who I was quite fond of, who, after hooking up with me, got a girlfriend who just liked to have sex. And he found me super attractive, and I would come over and I would wear like awesome jeans and like the boots, like I kind of go like a hyper masculine direction. He was super into it. And we would hook up and we'd have sex, and it was a great time. He was an awesome guy. But I mean, it wasn't like a spectacular body, but it was nice, and he was kind of hairy, and he was super cool. And we would hang out. I smoked at the time. We'd smoke cigarettes. We'd hang out. We'd smoke weed. It was fun times. It was like, we'd be having a lot of fun going along, and then we'd just start with the physical aspect, and it was a lot of fun. And he never considered himself terribly gay. I do what I do, so I was unfazed by all of this, and it was just cool. And it wasn't anything other than we would hang out and sometimes have sex. Sometimes we'd hang out and not do that, and other times we'd hang out and we'd do that a lot. And it was whatever. And I guess I was already progressive in that way, because I never was like, oh, you need to be gay, or oh, you need to do this, or you need to do that. I was like accepting of the fact that he was attracted to me as a human being and wanted to hook up with me, but that did not automatically mean he had to like overturn his whole life and his whole apple cart to be able to fit this into his life. And he was just a cool dude, and we connected. And at some level, shouldn't that be what human sexuality is about? We are so caught up on labeling everything and trying to be everything every way, and have it all being so like perfectly neat and structured and all this type of thing. And when the reality is that we're all human beings, and we're all looking for love, and we're all looking for someone to connect with. And I used to say on my dating show I had in college, whether it's for a night or a lifetime, it's always special and it's always important, because over a whole lifetime, how many people are you really going to connect with on that level? Not that many. And so it should hopefully be interesting and neat and special and the right thing every single time. And I think in our excessive labeling of modern sexuality, that whole thing has been lost. And I think it is sad. It's depressing. It hurts my heart, because how many guys out there are sitting next to a guy right now that they would love to just slurp him up like water in a desert, but won't because they're caught up on labels. How many women out there are in oppressive situations they would desperately love to change and do something different with, but can't or won't because we're caught up on labels? How many young people would like to experiment or do something different but won't because of the same problem? It's too confining. These boxes are meaningless. Will it matter in 100 years? No, it won't. Everyone acts like if we all are not attracted to the opposite sex somehow, as if by magic we're just all going to quit having children. I know guys that 110% full stop would never do anything with another guy. And I know a lot of them. So I'm pretty sure human reproduction is taken care of. So those of us that may not be as convicted in our beliefs might need to do something different, and that is okay. And I miss guys like that. I haven't met a guy like that in a very long time, and I haven't really I haven't, been around that in a while, but I miss it. It interests me, and I always some of those kind of one time hookups, whatever have you, have been some of the nicest things and nicest chances to connect with someone I've ever had. And so I guess my lesson out of all of this, even though I did have quite a bit of fun with it in the video, was remember that we're all human beings and we're all looking for love and we're all looking for a connection. So in all that you're doing, be kind. And if there's, I guess, one thing that I love about this story is that men are becoming people. Like, women are becoming people in terms of we're objectifying them less and treating them more equal and fighting equal pay and all that type of thing, and that's awesome. But men are coming out of their box, coming out of toxic masculinity, and forging something genuinely and actually new that I think is interesting, exciting, and compelling, and explores the many different realms of what being a man can be and can look like. And I think that is the most exciting part of this story. Now some guys can be super awkward about it. Uh I was with this one guy who literally, like, we hooked up, and it was very like he'd never done anything before, so I was like trying to coach him through it, and we were kind of figuring out what he liked, what he didn't like, getting him back in the mood, all this type of thing. He tried some things that he always wanted to try. It was awkward but overall successful. Everyone got off, everyone had a great time. It wasn't awkward. uh well, it did become awkward, but for a separate reason. It wasn't awkward between us, let's put it that way. Until he did not have a car at the time. So I was driving him home. So we get done, we wrap up, clean up, I get dressed, I grab my keys. I'm driving him across town back home. It's a 20-minute drive. At this point, it's 4 in the morning. The stoplights aren't even on. It's a fast drive. Small town I'm living in at the time where I went to college. Driving him home, uh, and he's sitting there, and I'm kind of like, so, like, how was your first time with another guy? Like, we're kind of rehabbing it. Like, what did you like, what you didn't like? And he's like, this whole experience has reminded me how much I really love my ex-girlfriend. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've taken you into my bed. We've done and experimented things together. And all this does is remind you about how much you love your ex girlfriend. Like, way to go straight to the feels. I mean, reflectively now, like, I would handle the situation differently, but I was a lot younger and less experienced with sleeping with otherwise straight guys at the time. So I was a little bit, weirded out. And I'm kind of like, well, I'm sure, like, she'll appreciate that. And, is there any chance of you guys getting back together? I'm trying to play it cool, of course, because I'm me and I try to play it cool. And he's like, yeah, I think I might call her up and all this type of thing. Well, I this eventually became our little tete-a-tete eventually became a running joke. I was helping start up a company with some friends of mine at the time, and he was in on this deal. And so, um so we're doing all of this and all this type of thing, and he is one of those guys that's into like super pale, super white, skinny girls, and he has very racy pictures of them on his computer desktop. And so we get together in the evenings after everyone gets off their day jobs, and we're working on this stuff, and it's all very creative and fun times, and he has all these racy pictures up, which doesn't bother any of us. We're sitting there and he's talking about how he's only into the white girls, and his dick is super racist, and he just doesn't find black women attractive, and all this type of thing. And of course, like an idiot, I told my business partner that he and I had gotten together. And so and he can't keep his mouth shut. So word spreads quickly. So pretty much everyone who's involved with our company is laughing every time he says this, because they know his dick is no more racist than anybody else, because he has been at my house. I tell you this story to tell you a couple things. One, if you are a guy and you're going to hook up with another guy, and you do not consider yourself straight, be prepared for the full breadth and depth of conversation that may occur after you get with someone who may identify as straight but is experimenting with you, including them running back to their girlfriend. Just be prepared for it. Don't be bothered. It's not about you. It's no legislation on you. That's all about them. You've gotten laid. Get on with your life. Then, the other side of that is that, one, don't kiss and tell, like, ever. Just don't do it. Just absolutely 110% just don't do it. And then, for three, just learn from your experiences. Learn from your experiences. And be cool, and just be cool about it. Like, don't kiss and tell, don't, like, tell people about it, and just be cool about it, and just go on with things. And unfortunately, in that situation, I wasn't smart to do that. And like it just became such a running joke. And we had quite a few people working with us at the time, and it just became such a running joke. And it was kind of funny because the joke was about him and not about me, which I personally appreciated. But that if you're gonna do that with other guys, it's an important thing. And I would say if you're a straight guy who's looking at hooking up with your special mate, and he's cool with it and down with everything, I would say rock on, dude. Experiment, put yourself out there. You might be surprised what you like, what you don't like. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be gay. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to marry another guy. That doesn't necessarily mean you won't ever hook up with a woman ever again. It doesn't mean any of those things. You are a human being engaged with another human being. Just don't kiss and tell, and don't let it get around, because that can be weird. And that's the true lesson of this story is don't let it be weird, and just let it be awesome, and between the two of you, and it will be fun and awesome times. I highly recommend. That's all for this episode of the Cameron Journal podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Visit us online at CameronJournal.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I love to talk to my followers and listeners, so please feel free to get us on social media at Cameron Cowan on Twitter, and we'll see you next time on the Cameron Journal podcast.